Welcome back to me. It's so good to see all of you. Don't just hold the phone onto your arm. You got to keep yourself honest. All right. Hello. It's wonderful to see all your faces. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Breaking the law, breaking the law. All right. We have a fun, it's good to not take it too seriously because the subject today is order. Right? That's the exact response that I had when Reverend Liz told me what I would be talking about today. I'm so excited to come. But what I know to be true is that I don't have to have everything down exactly. I don't have to be an expert. I don't have to have been like, I've got order down, because I don't. But I can tell you that I have been a student of trying to figure it out for a really long time. And I'm good at trying to figure things out. So that's where I'm speaking to you from today. I love the subject of order, truly. As I started to dig in, when she told me about it and I started to think about it, I started to meditate about it, I started to think about how does order or disorder show up in my life? What does it feel like? What's the texture? Where can I pull back from my youth to figure out what it means? And what I realized is that order is like this really, really rich topic. Like we could do this subject, except that it would be horrible, but we could do this topic for weeks and weeks and weeks. There is so much depth here. And as I just kind of started to think, okay, order, disorder, and related to that, peace, right? Think about when you have order in your life, just like organization. Things are flowing. You have peace, and when you don't, there's disruption. Rupture. Ease. Dis-ease. Discipline. People in these circles love the word discipline. Or chaos, right? These are the words that came to me as I started to think about this, and I thought, oh my goodness, well, this is a gold mine. This is very exciting. But today, we're going to focus on one aspect. And that is kind of from that higher level, that first response that I had, and it sounds like some of you have of that, like that order is a bad word, right? So the title of my talk today, Order Isn't a Bad Word. Embracing your inner wisdom. It's always got to sound so optimistic, right? To get you here. But for me, order has been a bad word. It really has been. And I've resisted it. So in my household, right? So I think back to where does that feeling come from? When I think about my household, it was like the two ends of the spectrum. So my dad, super retentive. My mom, super expulsive. Right? So that's like the two ends of that spectrum. There was a place for everything and everything in its place. Keep your emotions in check. Don't show too much. It's not the time and the place. Don't ask for that now. Children should be seen and not heard. Right? And like my other parent wasn't about that. It was like you do things when it comes, like, oh, it's dinner? And yes, cleaning needed to be done. It was important, but it was, and it was on the list. But if any of you are like me and you have things that are on a list, and then you're like, but I'd rather do this one. And okay, I'm going to get to it next, but this one sounds like more fun, right? That's kind of the experience of growing up in a household that was like the two ends of the spectrum that felt a little crazy making, right? Like, and then my siblings and I, my oldest brother, very much like my father, very organized, tried to tell me what to do all the time, thought he was the boss of me, right? And like my middle brother and I are outside smelling daisies and making shapes out of the clouds, and I was making up songs with Jesus. I was very into Jesus when I was a little girl. And so we both kind of fell in the laissez-faire camp. So it created an interesting dynamic. But it always felt to me like there was this push, an imposition of order. And I didn't like it. It wasn't, there were rules. I felt about it. There was not a happy experience that I had with following the rules and doing the things that I was supposed to. There was somebody else who was telling me how to be and what I was supposed to do. So it felt like this external push. And I developed a very, very strong don't tell me what to do attitude. Don't tell me what to do. With a healthy dose of you're not the boss of me mentality. You are not the boss of me. Right? Can you do a little bitty? Just like that. So this is not uncommon, right? A lot of us have this feeling of challenges, whether it's like mine, where you're resisting, or on the other side, where it might, on the unhealthy end of the spectrum, where it might be controlling or inflexible, right? That you want to control things, and things shouldn't shift or change without your advance notice and permission. And that can cause, either end of those can cause pain, discomfort in life. But what if there was another way for us to have a relationship with order, to experience order in a way that it was easily flowing? Like, just imagine a little babbling brook. Yeah. Can you hear it? Yeah. And that could be order. So how do we get this? That was my experience as a child, but how do we kind of, as a culture, get that sense of, for my side of like, don't tell me what to do? Well, when we think of the traditional idea of order, it's associated with rules, oftentimes, regulations, external control, right? And society tends to frame order as a set of guidelines that are imposed upon us. Right? So we come by our resistance honestly, if that's where you're coming from. The things we have to do in order to fit in order to succeed, in order to be accepted. Right? We have these rules, this order that we need to comply with in order to have our life go well. And that can feel really limiting, right? I've shared with you before, like I am neurospicy. I process information differently than other people. It doesn't, I'm going to read my school book. Ooh, let me write some notes on the side. I'm like, I just read the first paragraph of the last half hour and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, or you're talking about. I don't process information the same. So when it comes to following the rules to have success, the rules weren't made up with me in mind. So I get really mad when the rules say that you do this to succeed, but I don't have the ability to do the thing in order to succeed. So what? Success is not available to me? And so you see the don't tell me what to do, right? Did you feel that? Like, oh my God, no. It can also feel suffocating, right? It feels limiting when they tell us what to do, what's expected of us when we're in school, unless you went to like a Montessori, which if you did, awesome. Lucky you. But I did not. Or in the workplace, right? There's all these rules designed to maintain structure, maintain predictability, but it can feel suffocating. And maybe some of you are familiar, as I'm talking about these things, you can feel that inner rebel. I like that. You can look in the world like we all went home for the pandemic shutdown, and nobody wants to go back to the office. They're like, no, I do not agree with that rule, right? You see it on a line or whatever side of that conversation you're on. Take a breath. It's okay. But you can feel that pushback of resistance to the rules, which is pretty normal if you're starting to feel suffocated, right? And for me, imagine, like I have a big response. It's like a bucking horse in a stall. That is my response to you telling me what to do. And so I put that idea of you telling me what to do, of societal order, in a bucket of authority. And authority is trying to impose something upon me, and whatever, you're not the boss of me, and you can't tell me what to do. Now, I grew up in a Catholic church where God was an authority outside of me, and I put God in the bucket of don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. There's a little bit of trouble with that, and we'll talk about it. Because if you're fighting against a system, that's one experience, right? I'm fighting against the societal structure that tells me that I may or may not have success if I follow this path. Versus, I am pushing against the divine presence of spirit that is in, through, and as me, everywhere, all around, that has something being pulled out of me to create a greater experience of love, joy, peace, fulfillment, all the good things. And if I put that call out there and in the bucket of don't tell me what to do, can you imagine the potential experience? I love having notes because they mean nothing. I'm like, where the heck am I? I have no idea. But what if we could shift our perspective? Right? Imagine if we could shift our perspective. What if order isn't about restriction and control, but rather about finding a deeper connection to our own inner wisdom? What if? What if it's not about you're not the boss of me, I'm the boss of me? And that big I, that I am that is connected to the genius of the universe that has created all of the brilliant magnificence of this world, of the universe, of the things that we can see, perceive, touch, taste, feel, and those that we can't. That me, that I am. So there's spiritual order, right? There's divine order. In Unity, you talk about the power of order. I love studying Unity stuff. It is so much fun for me. It's just this new shift from science of mind, religious science, where I'm coming from, and seeing it in the words and in the way that Unity does. It's really fantastic. It opens, because sometimes, like, oh, I've studied this for 25 years. Which is ridiculous, and it also happens. And then when I started looking at it from the Unity perspective, because I've never studied that before, I'm like, oh, yeah, order, right? Like the power of order. It's awesome. What if the spiritual, the divine concept, the principle of order, the power of order is an inside-out job? And that our work is to rewire our belief, our values, and our thoughts about harmony. Harmony, that's a much nicer word, right? Order, harmony. That thing that can flow, that babbling brook, a beautiful piece of music. And then, so we realign, we rewire our thoughts, our beliefs, and our values to be in harmony, to be aligned with the spiritual concept of order, right? That thing which is expansive. If you look at nature, do you see order? We're moving, we're transitioning as we do maybe on a different pace, but we're transitioning into fall. You smell the green chili. Pretty soon we're going to smell piñon wood, right? The order, the movement of the seasons and the things that we do, we can see that around us. What if we could align with that same brilliance, that same wisdom of the divine as it expresses itself in nature? And that starts inside of us. That starts with our thoughts, our beliefs, our values. And then, so I'm good at that. Put me in my meditation chair all day long. But now we need to align that with our actions. That's the tricky part. And as we bring harmony to our inner experience, we more fully align to all aspects of our lives, right? If we allow it, we have to be conscious of it. We align to the harmony within us, to the harmony of spirit in us, in our thoughts, our beliefs, and our values. And then we take that alignment and we can begin to, if we pay attention, we can begin to feel that when we are out in the world and doing our thing, if we're in alignment. Is my activity in the world aligned with that inner harmony that I have been cultivating? I'm imagining a strings instrument when it just doesn't. And you can, if you are paying attention, you can begin to feel that dissonance. And you're like, ooh, that wasn't quite it. Not as a, take it easy, it's not too serious. See, it's okay, we get to have dissonance and then course correct. But the next activity, if we want to experience more order in our lives, that divine order, knowing that, recognizing that brilliance of spirit expressing in us, align our values, align our thoughts, our beliefs, and then step out in action. And when we do that, we can begin to reframe outside control versus inner alignment. Outside imposed rules versus an inner call for peace, for order, for harmony, for love. We can begin to discern the two and maybe take God out of the bucket and place it right where it belongs. I have inner wisdom, and my inner wisdom guides me to the best decisions that bring me more life, that bring me more connection. So the question is for you is where is God to you, for you? Have you put it in the bucket? If life happens and life starts to get wonky, if there's some chaos, are you really ticked off? Are you on the other side of the spectrum where if somebody shows up late, you're just really angry because how could they show up late? Were you on time? Awesome job. The world around you can happen. There can be experiences of disorder around you. But when you have that inner sense of order, that inner sense of harmony, we begin to let go of our attachment to what everybody else is doing. There are natural consequences in the world. They're beautiful. They're sometimes hard, but they're beautiful. Allow the people to have it. Just allow it. Where are you? Are you in alignment with that for yourself? And then how about the idea of the adjusting power of order? So if we are so white-knuckled on control, that side of order, not that don't tell me what to do, but I'm going to tell you what to do. Can we begin to consider that there is an adjusting power of order, that I can change my actions when the circumstances change, right? Hold order a little more lightly and listen to the inner wisdom instead of always defaulting to an external expectation, right? When I was coming into that time of life, and I was like, before that, multitasking, right? I could multitask, get a lot done. And then something happened, and I was like, I can't do two things at once anymore. It's supposed to be not true. You can't even do it, but our brains can move quickly, so it feels like you're multitasking. Well, it came to a point where I couldn't multitask. I have other challenges as well, but there was a shift at a point in my life as I came into menopause, where my brain just wasn't doing what it used to do. And I was really upset because I kept trying to do the multitasking. I kept trying to get the things done. I wanted to produce. But the reality was my brain was operating differently. I was engaging with the world differently. Was that bad? No, it was just really uncomfortable because it was brand new. I had to change my expectations of what I was bringing. Do other people want me to do that quickly? Absolutely. But you know what? I bring a depth of wisdom and experience. I've fallen on my face plenty of times. I know what that feels like. I bring to you, whoever you are, something so deep and rich that doesn't come from my youth. Right? I bring something different, and there's value in that. So I change the expectations that I have so that I can be more at peace. Now, like, oh my goodness, yeah, no, I can't do and I'm not working that many hours either. No, thank you. No, and I'm not doing it that fast. I just don't have the value for that anymore, and that's okay. So can we check? But I'm more at peace because the order came out of me, my expectation of order, my truth, and I was up against it with other people. That's okay. That's okay. All right. So, divine intelligence, we know. Order, divine order, the power of order is in us. Yeah? We got that far? Hopefully, because I'm out of time. So what do you want to do? You want to tune into your body. You want to tune into your body. Sit still. Pray. Be in conversation with Spirit. Be curious about where that wisdom is within you. That call for order is within you. Your counters are messy. Oh, that doesn't feel good. What's being called forth? Not somebody trying to tell you what to do because a clean and orderly house is the right way to be, whatever. What is being called from you to have a created experience of order for yourself, whatever order might look like? Sit in prayer. Be curious. Ask the divine. What does it feel like when I'm out of alignment? Where does that happen in my body? How do I listen for that? Sit in silence. Notice the thoughts go by and just wait. And listen for whatever Spirit has for you. Whatever it is perfect. You might not think it's related, and then like 3 weeks from now, you're like, oh my God, that so made sense. And then practice. Be in the world and not know what the heck to do. Be up against some place where somebody's trying to tell you what to do, and you're feeling it. And then listen. Practice. Where was it in my body? My solar plexus? Yeah, I'm tied up in here in my solar plexus. I'm not happy with what's going on. Okay. That's okay. What does that mean? There's nuance here, my friends. It's not always like, oh, I have tension, and so you're trying to tell me what to do, and I'm not going to do it. It's more nuanced than that. This is tough work, right? We love it. We're here. I've seen your faces here before. I know you love it. So what you want to think about is, where is it in your body that you can feel that misalignment, that dissonance? And then ask your body what it wants. Ask your spirit, what would align me in this moment? Some people aren't going to be happy with me. Got it. No, go to jail. That's not what I'm talking about. Don't do those crazy things. But in the small things, you want to practice. You want to start to practice. Spend a little time each day in that practice. Because order is not about external control. It's about inner wisdom. This was the fastest 20 minutes of my life. I can't even tell you. I was so excited because I didn't have that much to say. Order. It's a new kind of order. Adjusting your expectation of yourself, your expectation of the world, has you experience life more peacefully, yes? If you can be more flexible with life. If you can be more peaceful with yourself. It's not that there's no order. It might be a new order. Feeling anxiety? Clean a drawer. There's a practical tip right there. There's something about order. It is not against you. It is coming from you, just like the changing seasons, just like the cooler air, just like the leaves that will be turning. The order that is being called out from within you is the same as that. It is genius. It is brilliant. You are genius. You are brilliant. Allow yourself to align with the order of the divine, and your life will flow like that sweet babbling brook. That is your divine inheritance. That is your divine inheritance. Talk to each other this week as you're doing this work. Come back together when you're at your group, all those things. My Lord. When you're coming together and having those, take a little minute. Like, how did that go for you? Did you do a little bit of that? And then try to practice, like, what happened? Talk to each other. Share with one another what your breakthroughs were, what your boundaries were, where you got stuck. This is the place to learn, is with each other. Thank you so much. Namaste.